All right, the return of Tony's Tiers, but we're not doing NFL quarterbacks this time. We actually had a massive, massive reply to Tony's Tiers quarterback edition, which swept the nation, swept what was going on here in this studio, in this company, really. There was divisions amongst people in the company about Tony's Tiers. People were very upset about having somebody who's not Patrick Mahomes in the Patrick Mahomes tier. It was mayhem, okay? But what we're doing now is something, I don't want to say better, but something very important at this point in time in the season. Not even doing NFL. We're doing Tony's college football tiers, and I'm looking at a crew of a full gambit of people in the back. We got Taylor. We got Mike Malley. We got Fuentes. We got Chris Cody. We got Izzy. We got Ethan. We got everybody here because they heard college football tiers. They heard me arguing about certain teams and certain players and certain positions in their CFP rankings, and the boys wanted in. And that's what we do here. Anything Tony related, the boys are in. That's what we do. We bring the boys together. We talk some sports. Chris laughs something on his phone. I don't know what it is, but I like it.
I'm laughing at you, baby.
You're laughing at me? Oh, thank you. All right. So what we're going to do is this. Taylor, we've got 25 teams. We've got the ranking of the top 25 in random order. Right? We're not going 25 to 1 or 1 to 25.
It's a projected top 25 because this is going to come out before the top 25 tonight comes out.
Right, which will cement certain teams in certain places, but we're going to give you the real scoop on Tony's Tiers. Should I read the tier list beforehand? That way we can build and establish, foundation for all these teams and what we're going to be picking for. All right, we're going to start at the top, which is contender. We got the contender tier. After that, I like you, but I don't love you, which a couple teams could fall into that mix. A head coach away. You got a couple teams in your mind right now that you said, team's good, but a head coach away. Dark horse, and that's a caveat, right? Dark horse for the playoff. I feel like that's an important piece right there. Next tier, electric. Don't really, it could mean nothing, but these teams are going to be electric when they play.
Quick question.
Yes.
Electric is worse than a coach away?
No. Not worse, just different. Right? You can have a team that's a coach away that could be playing for a chance to win a national title.
But if these are tiers, they're stacked.
Not really. There's some tiers that could be like on one piece and another piece over here.
Okay. Can a team both be a coach away and electric?
There's going to be a couple combo tiers in the top 25 for sure. We have the get them out of here tier, which are obviously teams we don't want to talk about. We want to get them out of here as quick as possible. And we have the pretender tier. So as you can see, it's not a binary set of tiers. It's not, this is going to go here, this is going to go there, this is going to go here, this is going to go there. This is, you got a team that's fun, that's electric, but may not be in the chance to win.
Get them out of here.
Whoa. Usually I don't want to get the electric teams out of here. I want more electric teams in here. But to that example, yes, you could have an electric team that we get them out of here. But, spoiler, that's not going to happen. So how are we going to do this, Taylor? You're going to bring up a school name, and then we're going to hit them with a tier. All right, let's start off. We randomized the top 25 of the projected rankings, and this is our first team.
The first team is Missouri.
Get them out of here. I don't even want to talk about Missouri. I wasn't watching because I was watching other games. I was watching how the Missouri game ended between Oklahoma and Missouri. Taylor was showing me earlier. When you have two fumbles deciding the game that both scoop and score fumble sixes, I want nothing to do with you. Next team.
BYU.
Is there a tier for, I haven't seen him play?
That's usually the get him out of here tier. That's usually the get him out of here tier. But BYU, an interesting team, right? A team that hasn't really been good. They've been an okay program, just been whatever. I'm saying long.
You're talking historically.
Historically, even though they've had some good players, they've won a couple Heisman trophies, whatever. That's not the point. The point is, recently they haven't been as good. And you look at their schedule. Strength of schedule is not crazy. They've beaten 13th ranked Kansas State team 38-9. But the whole thing has been their quarterback is Jewish, right? And that really doesn't work when the CFP committee is looking around saying, all right, who are the best teams? It's the guy who has a different religion than the school of the religion that he goes to currently.
Move him up a tier.
It also could not be more polar opposite, right? That's what makes it funny.
Sure, but he hasn't been that good, right? Like when you think of BYU, you think of quarterbacks that are throwing the ball all over the yard. You think of guys that have a lot of touchdowns. You look at his stats, got 2,000 yards, got 18 touchdowns, 7 picks. I mean,
But he's Patrick Shalom. Just say the name every single time he's out on the field. You're having a good time watching that game.
I'm with Tony, though. He's been meh.
Okay.
yes.
Give it a second.
Yes, dude.
Yes, that's excellent.
Absolutely.
What was the one we came up with later? Drew Locks.
Drew Locks.
Drew Locks,
Yeah.
somebody
Locks,
tweeted
Tweeted
it.
it out to us.
No Drew Brees. We had Drew Bledsoe, but not Drew Brees.
Don't usually overlap.
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
both. They're both Drew, so you only really need one.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
But also, BYU has 2 wins against teams in this projected top 25. They have SMU, they have Kansas State. Not too many
win,
teams.
yeah. Tight win against SMU.
I love how the Utah coach, was it the coach or the AD, was complaining?
The
AD was complaining that this was stolen from them
Yeah.
because, college football, everybody wants BYU to be on top of the world.
Also, that was like, you could say it was a soft PI, but that was probably pass interference. Like, that wasn't that egregious.
Should probably get that checked out.
Wasn't-
That soft PI.
Ooh.
Sounds like it. Doesn't it sound like something?
That's a
nasty?
penis joke, guys.
for you.
It's a penis joke, guys.
It's a team that I like, but I don't love. That's where they're going to live. Yeah. Like, but don't love them. I like the story. The story's fun. Do I love them being in the college football playoff and possibly hosting games if they don't win the conference championship? That's a whole other story of what if they don't win, then they end up being on the outside looking in. They may not even get to the playoff. Whatever. That's not the point. The point is, I like them. I don't love them. That's BYU. Next team.
This is a controversial one. The Miami Hurricanes.
Okay. We have our first double
tier.
tier. We have our first double tier. Mike, it feels like you've got some inside information. What do you
I feel
what do
like-
you think here?
I feel like I know where you're going.
Okay.
I'm gonna predict that Tony will say they're electric, and also a coach away.
Wow.
Spot on.
That was perfect.
Somebody got
Not so fast, my friend.
Wow.
The first one was right, though. I could tell by your reaction.
Not so fast.
They're
my friend.
electric.
They're electric.
Yep.
No, they are. You cannot debate that the best offensive team in the country is electric. They are, right? When Cam Ward has everything humming, when they've got those receivers going, when Damian Martinez, Mark Fletcher are running through everybody, they're an electric team on offense. The issue is the second part, okay? Their second tier. The window's closing. Window's closing on a team that has a Heisman Trophy candidate, possible at quarterback. After that, they've got a guy who played Division I AA. They've got a guy who's not that good, and they got another guy who you don't know about. Okay?
To be fair, I didn't remember all the tiers
Yeah, I mean,
because I don't have them printed out or anything. So I would say they're actually a 3-tier team then.
So you're saying they're a coach away on top of that?
And also the window's closing while being electric.
Could you also put them in the get them out of here tier? Oh,
No, I would never do that.
Can it be like glass half full type thing? The window is opening also.
Sure. But
the window
window's
is
also closing.
open currently.
Yeah. The window's closed. They did a great job in the portal. The question is, how many times can you pull a rabbit out of a hat in the portal when it comes to a guy who's a
I didn't think there were windows in college, right? Because it's
There's
a
always
window every
windows,
year,
isn't
no?
it? No, there's always windows.
The window's just open.
The transfer portal, allows people to have windows that open and close quicker than not.
It's a very fast closing window.
Yes.
The window is open, but the momentum of the window.
Yeah.
It's
It's more
going
like the
down.
window is slamming because it's like really fast
It's
close.
it's in the midst.
Yeah.
It's like right there. So double tier team, electric Miami offense, but the window's closing on Cam Ward.
Let me make the argument for get them out of here real quick. We all know they're losing the first game of the playoff, right?
We don't know that.
I don't know if they're beating Syracuse.
I don't like that either. 2 UF guys in the back.
Yeah.
Not making a lot of sense. All right. Next team.
The next team is Ole Miss, coming off a big win against Georgia.
Big win. Lane Kiffin never wins that game. He's never won that
No,
game
he had literally never won that game before. He was 0-5 against the top 5, I'm pretty sure.
ever. Okay? And we talk about the portal. Ole Miss did a lot of stuff to beef up their defensive line, beef up their defense in general. Jackson Dart, that offense is good. The kid that they have, I forgot his name. The kid that came in for Jackson Dart, led him down the field.
Austin Simmons.
Very good. Okay. Future looks bright there. They got that next quarterback after Jackson Dart. Great quarterback name, by the way.
He'll be
Jackson
playing
Dart.
at Florida with Lane Kiffin next year.
I'm about to get this guy out of here. Very close to it. Ole Miss, dark horse. Dark horse team. You beat Georgia. I like you. The problem is the SEC is absolutely stacked. You got Tennessee, you got Alabama, you got Georgia, you got Texas. Like, there's a lot of teams there. Is there a possibility that Ole Miss can sneak into the CFP?
Well, I don't know. You got to give me 22 more teams first to figure out who I'm ruling out.
I don't know. Could they? And that's why we're going to ask a little dark horse for the Rebs.
I have to think after beating Georgia and being 16 the week before, they'll be in the top 12 this week. You would have to think. They have one of the best wins of any teams in the country. You would have to think that that's going to propel them up 4 spots to be in the playoff.
If Ole Miss wins out, you don't think they make it to the SEC championship game? Do they get in to the CFP without winning a conference champion?
They beat Georgia. They close the season with Florida. That's easy win. Mississippi State.
Another easy win.
That's in the field.
Like, you're in the mix.
Yeah, it feels like that game against Georgia this past weekend was a win and you're in game.
Dark horse team. I like them. All right, next.
The next team is the Clemson Tigers.
Get him out of here. Yeah, everybody knows. Everybody knows.
I think we can keep this one short. Just get him.
Get him out of here. Get him out of here. That boy Swinney. Next team.
LSU.
I'm a little partial. I'm a big fan of the LSU Tigers. Jenny is the first lady of Baton Rouge, okay? The issue is you lose every big game you play, coach. Every single
James
big
Franklin.
game you play, you can't lose. You got to win a big game. LSU Tigers a coach away.
Caught me off guard.
You got to win the big game. You bring the Tiger out on the field. You got to win the game. You bring the Tiger
You
out
can
on
leave
the
the
field.
Tiger in.
But if you bring him out, win the game at least. At least don't let Jalen Milroe look like a cheetah running past everybody for 4 scores and 185 yards on the ground. Please. Next team.
The next team is the aforementioned Georgia Bulldogs.
I have a very hard time taking Georgia out of the contender tier. I have a hard time doing it. They still have very good pieces on offense and defense. Okay? The issue is where you need pieces to be excellent, they are not that. They are not that. Okay? Carson Beck, I said on the show a couple days ago, it was TVD-esque the way that he dropped from being a potential number 1 pick in the draft to, is this guy going to play for any team in the NFL the way that he's been playing recently?
If it's a quarterback that you don't like, I think we can all rule him out. He's got no chance if Tony doesn't like this
That's
quarterback.
exactly right. And I just see him not being that good. But I believe in Kirby Smart. I believe in the defense. Okay?
What's the path here, though, Tone? Because they've got 2 losses now.
The path is through Georgia. And the
Is that-
CFP, if
that's
they
it?
win out, the committee's not going to keep Georgia out.
I think you're probably right on that, but there's a lot of good teams in front of them that have big wins in front of them that Georgia just kind of doesn't have.
If Georgia beats Tennessee this weekend,
Everything changes, of
it's
course.
over. It doesn't matter. They're in.
But isn't Nico hurt? If they beat Tennessee with a backup quarterback, I don't think people are really going to care as much
Then
about that.
how we're going to talk about Tennessee in a little bit, but then where does Tennessee go
Without Nico, they're not going to make it.
if they lose to Georgia?
I'd even think if they somehow beat Georgia without Nico, I think they're going to get Florida Stated like last year. You don't have your starting quarterback. We're not going to put you in.
I'm keeping, right now, this may be a fault, but I'm keeping Georgia in the contender tier. Next team.
The next team is the South Carolina Gamecocks.
Fun team. Fun team, but we got to get them out of here, okay? But fun team. Fun team. I like them.
I kind of disagree with that one.
Really?
Lenora Sellers is electric, so I
Okay.
would put South Carolina as electric, but I understand the logic of get them out of here because they're really not a factor in the playoffs.
The issue is there's so many good teams in the SEC that what are we going to do with them? Yeah, they're fun, but okay, we can put them in a co-tier. Get them out of here, but electric, as Izzy was saying earlier.
Electric Cox, but get out of here.
Exactly right.
There could have also been another category like playing spoiler, and that's what South Carolina basically is. But the next team, the Texas Longhorns.
See, this is where my Georgia tie-in also brings to this team, right? Georgia's good enough to beat a team like Texas that I have in the contender series. Had a brain fart.
Tier.
Thank you.
Tier. The whole thing is called Tony's Tier.
I don't know what happened there. I was thinking about Georgia and Texas. Texas is good enough to win the national title. The issue is Georgia destroyed them and exposed them in a big way.
That game was closer than we think.
No, it wasn't.
The first half was...
It was not close.
The first half was not close. The second half, they brought it back, and they didn't do what Georgia did to Alabama, but that second half was close. Like, that game was closer than we give it credit for. We all know how it ended.
Okay, with a Georgia W. And Quinn Ewers, again, coming off an injury, he's further along now. They look great against Florida. Absolutely beat the piss out of Florida.
Our defense had been playing well the last few weeks, and they made our defense look like shit. They carved our defense, 49-17.
Okay, just making sure. I saw a very exciting play, by the way. The four option end around was sick. The Gators fans were going into the tunnels at that point. It was over. I'm going to keep Texas. I'm going to keep Texas in the contender tier just because coach, quarterback, weapons. I like their offense. Their defense is best in the country. I don't think anybody has a better defense than Texas. I'm going to keep them in the contender tier.
The next team up, we're staying in the state of Texas. Texas A&M.
Dark horse.
Wow.
Dark horse.
Really?
I like what Texas A&M is doing. The problem is they got to continue winning.
Can we split it up with Texas A&M with Connor Wegman in one tier, Fuera, and Texas A&M with Marcel Reed in another tier in the whatever tier you just put him in?
In the dark horse tier?
Huge game last week of the season. Texas A&M is back.
It's going to be...
And this is going to be electric.
So your argument is that Texas A&M needs to continue winning. Doesn't everybody need to continue winning?
No, because some teams could lose. No, some teams could lose but still make it. The issue is Texas A&M needs to win out, knowing that they have Texas on the horizon. If Texas loses that game, I think they're still in.
Texas A&M's remaining schedule is New Mexico State this week,
W,
Auburn, and then
W.
If they get to the Texas game undefeated, it's essentially a play-in game for them, and they get it at College Station too.
And if Texas somehow slips up before that, that's a play-in game for both of those teams.
They play New Mexico State, so it's Aggies versus the Aggies.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. Wow. Double Aggie game.
I think the bigger problem for Texas A&M is that quarterback position.
Right. Naturally. Wegman, we know. Not great. Not great. All right, next tier.
The next team up was a popular team last year for maybe all the wrong reasons. It's Colorado.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Colorado Buffaloes not only are electric because of their duo on offense and on defense, but they're a dark horse team in the college football playoff.
I was going to say electric and get them out of here.
No, electric and dark horse. Who does not want to see Coach Prime as an underdog with Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter, Heisman hopeful, going into a Tennessee team or you name it, whoever you like there, okay? Colorado sneaks in, gets a W against a home field advantage team, makes it into the semifinals. This is a fun team. This is a dark horse team. If they win out, okay, win their conference title, those Colorado Buffaloes, those feisty Buffaloes are a dark horse.
I think, unfortunately, their only path is to win the Big 12.
That's fine.
But if they hadn't lost twice already, this is totally a team that the committee would try and sneak in for ratings, like a Notre Dame kind of, because I know they haven't been rating the way they were last year, but people would love to see Prime, Travis Hunter, Shedeur, and Colorado to try and watch them lose in the playoff. And I could totally see them as a team that the committee would try and get in either way.
Or win.
And if you're a team that's in that 6, 7, 8 range that's hosting a playoff game, the last team you want to see is a quarterback as talented as Shedeur. They've got Horn. They've got Hunter at receiver. They could be dangerous.
That's the last team you want to see on your schedule, trotting in Prime, the antics, the just everything that's coming with Colorado to your stadium. That's the last thing you want to see.
I know this is a college football discussion, but Shedeur Sanders, he's going to get a GM fired.
Or his dad hired.
So is Cam Ward.
One of the two. You figure it. I don't know. Next team.
The next team up is the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Another two-tier team. They're a contender just because I like all of their pieces. I'm not in love with Will Howard. Okay, I think he's okay. It's a little bit like the Bryce Young situation where he just had such a loaded roster around him that it kind of masks some of his shortcomings and failings as a quarterback. I think Ohio State's a contender. I also think they're a head coach away. Ryan Day's got to win the big game.
I saw them in person last week, 2 weeks ago. They're not that impressive. Jeremiah Smith is very impressive.
Jeremiah Smith's incredible.
He's very impressive. They didn't do...
Bona fides.
They didn't do... I'm just saying, I saw them up close. I was in the stadium.
He was scouting them in person.
Yes, I was scouting them for Tony's
every
Tears.
Ohio State game on TV.
Connor Stallion.
There's a difference.
With the
No,
fucking
there's a
binoculars
difference.
on the fucking sideline.
There's a difference when you're in the stadium.
Wow.
Jeremiah Smith, impressive. The rest of Ohio State, not that impressive.
Okay.
Penn State should have won that game.
Okay. Didn't, though.
Did not, but had every chance to, and I think we'll get to a reason why.
Next team.
The next team up is Army.
Army. By the way, I heard that in the back. We're on number 13. The Black Knights of Army. Get ready. The Army Knights, dark horse. Can you think of a team that people want to see less than an undefeated Black Knights Army team from West Point if they go into Notre Dame and beat Notre Dame? They're not going to Notre Dame, but you know what I mean. Figuratively speaking. They're playing at Yankee Stadium, right? When they play Notre Dame, and if Army gets out unbeaten against a Notre Dame team, wins their conference, okay, is an undefeated conference champion going in to the playoff, nobody wants to see the triple option Black Knights. Nobody. And I'm hoping, because we have a little bit of math here that we were doing. Tulane right now sits second in the AAC conference. Army sits first, Tulane second, Navy third, right? So we can have a scenario where this weekend, Navy and Tulane play. If Navy beats Tulane, Navy jumps to 2 in the AAC. All of a sudden, making up for a conference title game between Army and Navy before they play the Army-Navy game. For a conference title, for a presumable spot in the playoff if Army can beat them.
I can't believe you didn't call them electric because their scenarios, like Army-Navy before Army-Navy twice, Army-Navy for a playoff spot possibly. What is more electric?
I don't even have to say
that?
it's electric. I don't have to put them in the...
The team is not electric. It's a triple.
A strong ground game can be electric.
Thank you.
I don't wanna go all
21
Stugotz
plays,
here,
94 yards, 13 minutes.
Exactly right.
That's the definition of electricity.
Exactly right. Thank you. Somebody gets it. The scenario is if the Black Knights can pull it out, okay, and beat Notre Dame, all of a sudden, a lot of people get worried. Next team.
I've got 4 teams that I'm going to cut for time. It's Tulane, Kansas State, Louisville, Washington State.
I have them all. Get them out of here. Wow, funny you should say that. I have them all and get them out of here. Okay,
So the next actual team,
Tulane, Kansas State, Avery Johnson, them
Louisville,
boys.
Washington State.
If your quarterback is Avery Johnson, you're not going to go to the playoffs. You're not going to win.
Got a good chance of winning an NBA championship.
Yes, but not a CFP.
Next team up is the Tennessee Volunteers. Josh Heupel also said he expects
Nico to play
this weekend.
Okay. He didn't really have to do much last game. I think he threw like 14 times, right? Not a lot of tread on a lot of wear on those tires last game. If Tennessee can beat Georgia and essentially knock Georgia out of playoff contention, this is a dark horse team that has pieces on offense and just enough on defense with their big wins if they beat Georgia against Alabama. I know they lost to Arkansas, but everybody's allowed one bad game in this CFP, right? It's not the BCS of old where you have to go undefeated and you have to win out and be perfect. You can have those blemishes on your record and still get into the CFP. I like Tennessee as a dark horse. They got to beat Georgia this weekend, though. They have to, because if not, it's over.
The next team up, Notre Dame.
Pretender. Not even going to waste a lot of time. Pretender. Riley Leonard, okay. After that, they don't really have much.
Really dislike the Catholics.
Is that the first pretender so far?
That is the first pretender.
That is the first pretender.
The first and only pretender?
I don't know.
Also
We'll
join a conference.
I get it. You make more money out of conference, sure. But you know what? Just pretender. You and I know. Look at me, Notre Dame fans. What camera is this? This one? You and me know. Okay? You guys aren't winning anything this year. Don't be mad at me that I said you're a pretender. You feel it in your heart. Okay? And if Jess was here, I'd tell it to her face. She's a pretender, she knows it. Okay?
The next team up, Boise State.
Electric. Nothing like
Electric blue.
There is nothing. Go ahead, Tony.
Genty is must-watch TV. Must-watch TV. It does not matter where they play. It doesn't matter who they play. It doesn't matter what channel they're on. I will go out of my way. I went to CBS Sports Network West to find Hawaii versus Boise at the Chang Center, okay, in Hawaii, in Honolulu.
Well, you get the good cable package.
I've got it all, baby, okay? And I will go anywhere to find Austin Genty and them boys.
Sometimes he's hard to find, though, because I've said this before. He wears blue on the blue field. I think it's an advantage for him.
It is. But he's still electric, man. There's something about that stance when he's just there like...
The super casual zombie mode, but about to take off, yeah.
Boom! And then he rushes for 75 yards like, oh, wow, okay.
Speaking of the blue turf, there is no more electric thought than a CFP powerhouse, Texas, Alabama, Penn State, one of these schools, Notre Dame, going to the Smurf turf for a hosted playoff game by Boise State.
I've been there for a game, bowl game several years ago. You have to be there. You have to see that field. It'll give you a headache after about an hour, but you have to experience at least once.
How long was the trip to Boise, Idaho? How many
I try not to remember. It was terrible. And nobody in Boise was there because that was one of the years that Boise State, because Miami was playing somebody else. I don't know who it was. Boise State was playing in Arizona in the Fiesta Bowl. And so basically half the population of Boise was gone. And so it was like a ghost town. It was the worst time to be there.
Chris, your thoughts?
A lot.
A lot. Okay, excellent. Next team.
The next team up, currently undefeated, Indiana.
Electric. Coach Sig and them boys, like, he said at the beginning of the year, and this is my favorite thing to say, and I've said it a million times, and I'll say it a million times more. I win, Google me. There's nothing like that. When you have the coach that has the bravado of a prime, okay, but then goes out and is 10-0 at his first year at a school that nobody cares about. Nobody cared about Indiana. Michael Penix Jr. was there for 4 years, and nobody cared about Indiana.
It's not that much of a flex because you actually have to Google him because nobody really knows who he is.
Kurt Cignetti, the boy.
Could you also make the argument Indiana could fall in the window is closing because you got to figure this is Kurt Cignetti's last year at Indiana.
You think so?
Indiana's never
he's going to get a win. Yeah, he's going to get a bigger job.
He doesn't look like a savior, though. He doesn't look like that young coach. It's like, where's he going next? He just gives up because I think he's like 60
He's
something.
63. Yeah. A lot of my friends want him to be the Gators' next head coach, and I saw a picture of him for the first time, and I was like, I'm good.
Yeah, the vibes are
Keep
off.
me away from this.
This is a show talking about the college football 25 or the 25 rankings. How many Florida Gator mentions have we gotten at this point?
Well, we're not anywhere near here, so we got to get him in somewhere.
Well, now you got another one. There you go. So, next team,
Alabama.
Alabama's a dark horse. What they did at LSU in Death Valley, Jalen Milroe starting to find his footing again. Kalen DeBoer, their offensive line is great. Ryan Williams is probably he's a top 4 receiver in the country right now. I'd say it's Travis Hunter. I'd say it's Jeremiah Smith. Is it Ryan Williams 3? Is there somebody
right
better?
Teteroa McMillan.
McMillan, the kid from Arizona, is awesome. But I feel like his is more of like a pro.
Yeah, he's going to be a great pro in college, you're right.
In college, like Arizona, not great. But Ryan Williams is going to be insane. So I like what they're doing. I think they're a dark horse team. I think they can surprise some people. It's just Alabama. So it's like you put them as a dark horse. And
yeah, when was the last time Alabama was considered a dark horse for anything?
This year?
Yeah.
You could also make the argument for Alabama that in terms of coach-quarterback duos, you don't trust anybody more than Kalen DeBoer and Jalen Milroe. Maybe Quinn Ewers and Sark.
I would say Sark and Quinn Ewers I'd probably trust a little bit more.
Do you not trust Lanning and
Dylan Gabriel?
And Dylan Gabriel just because they're on Oregon?
No, I trust Milroe or Ewers or some other guys on here before.
But you're only discounting Lanning because it's Oregon.
I don't trust Milroe at all. If he has to throw the ball.
If he has to throw, it's over.
That's the issue. But he's got the dual threat better than anybody.
Against LSU, he kind of showed he doesn't have to throw the ball.
Right now, they're projected to go to Tennessee. So they would run that back, which was a loss this year.
Fun game.
That would be
By the way, can we all just give un aplauso really quick for the 12-team playoff, by the way, incredible. Like, they killed it. They killed it. All right, quickly, we've got 5 schools left. We'll run through them very quickly.
We have
Next
3
team.
schools.
3 schools left, my bad.
SMU.
SMU electric, but get out of here. Rhett Lashley and Dem Boys, very good offense. Love the Ponies. They're going to get beat by UM. They're not going to make it to the CFP, but a lot of hate in the back row, but electric.
I love to see you, but I hate to see you. Get out of here.
Exactly. Like you, but I don't love you.
Oregon.
Contender. You have to give them that. They've already beaten Ohio State. They're a very good team on both sides of the ball. Is this the year that they can finally all put it together, okay, with a quarterback who's 37 years old and a coach who's the same age? I love it. I love them. Are they going to do it? I don't know, but I think right now we have to give them the benefit of the doubt, being the number 1 team, being undefeated, being a contender.
The last team, the Penn State Nittany Lions.
I know where you're going here, Tony.
Move over Notre Dame.
No.
The only other team in the pretender tier, the Penn State Nittany Lions.
Not even a coach away.
And a coach away, though.
Straight pretender.
And a coach away.
And a coach
James
away.
Franklin, another guy, can never win the big game. Quarterback. What do we
Do you feel confident about Carson Beck going into Beaver Stadium, because that's the matchup right now projected?
I feel like Georgia is good enough. And I'm going to keep Carson Beck out of the equation. I'm going to say Georgia and Kirby Smart are good enough to beat a James Franklin team that gets dogged anytime there's a big game. Anytime. It does not matter who it is. It doesn't matter the opponent. If it's a big game, James Franklin's losing it. Contenders, pretenders, all of those on Tony's tiers. All together.
Ethan, anything on UF before we go?
Fire Billy Napier.
Wow. Chris, anything on FAU?
Hoot hoot.
Izzy?
I got nothing.
Okay. Mike?
Pause up, baby.
All right. Mally?
BC season is disappointing.
Castellanos and the boys? Taylor?
North Carolina's in my maybe next year.
When you lose to the Dukes by 75 points,
Coach
it's
away.
maybe a couple years. Excited for the CFP, excited for the 12-team playoff. We love you guys. Thank you for supporting everything we do. Peace.